internet issues.
With some like right at the last minute, let's just slide in and push the
Man,
button.
I'm telling, like you and I were talking, and then like it just all my internet went out. What is going
Good
on?
morning.
NoBS tribe. What is up with you, Jennifer Lacey?
Nothing, just like I knew I couldn't push the button, so I was like, okay, we're gonna see how this plays out. We'll see if Jesse shows up right on time.
Well, I'll tell you. So right now I'm running off the hotspot of my phone.
Great. You're
So
just setting me up. I already feel it. You're setting me up.
we may have some freezing going on. What is up, people out there in the Omniverse?
Yes.
Good morning. Let us know where you're at. Of
Whoop,
course,
whoop.
if you're a first timer, drop a blue heart so we can see who you are and give you some love.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. Rachel. Oh, look. So I bet you that's coming in from your feed.
It's got a little link. It's got a little paperclip looking thing.
Oh man, that's so awesome. Okay, good. So then we'll be able to see
Yes.
comments on your feed and on live. That must have been. I talked to him. I said, Mr. and Mrs. StreamYard, y'all need to get your stuff together.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Oh, look at that. We got Mr. Jim.
Yes, good morning, Jim.
From the back deck. Yes, Jim.
Yes.
But is that from the back deck by yourself?
Or with your earbuds or wife?
Oh man. So Jen, you just got back from vacation. How was vacation?
It was good. It was needed. And as much as we talk about self-care and mental health and all those things, and I believe in it 100%, I'm not very good at it. And so taking the time, it was a holiday kind of in the middle of the week. So I was able to take an extra day and a couple extra days and just kind of travel a little bit with my girls, and did not take my computer, which was like such a big deal because I don't go anywhere without my computer. Even if I know there's not going to be a reason for me to be on it, it's like, oh, just in case, what happens? So I didn't take my computer, and I got on an airplane and traveled without my computer, and everything went fine.
But did you die?
I did not. And the world, and everybody kept functioning, and everything was fine, and nothing blew up. So it's like, what?
Oh, amazing. Good for you. Well, hold on. It's all right, tribe. We need y'all to do some celebratory love, hugs, hearts.
Yes.
Because Jim is with his wifey, and they just had their 30th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah, big congratulations. Lots of love to the Guntorius family.
Yes.
I can only imagine how much work goes into making that sort of thing happen.
Yes.
30
and
years.
It's a good conversation today because it's like, what have you been waiting on or holding on to that you need to act on? And she could be listening and be like, oh, there's some things we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's see what happens.
Yeah. All right. So we got some tribe members jumping in. Mr. Bruce. Say, this where the action at? 10-4.
Yes.
And that is what we're going to be talking about this morning.
Yes.
And we got Steve Martin celebrating the NoBS tribulation.
Yes.
We broke 1,000. Steve, thank you, man. Everybody else out there, y'all spread the word. Y'all hyped it up. And we're at 1,024.
I know. We just push the button and
yeah, it just grew. Miss Sarah. So I got to hang out. Did you see that yesterday?
I did. I got to listen to y'all. Yeah, y'all talked about some bomb stuff yesterday.
Y'all got to go back and check it out. Bring out your badass self. I got to hang out with Miss Sarah and Katie, and we had a good time. They asked really good questions. And you know how it is, Jen. I got rolling. I don't remember what I said.
Of course,
I do remember I had fun.
And I was on podcasts all the time. We get back and we listen. We said some smart things, but we didn't remember them.
Oh, look, we got a blue heart, and I think Melissa. Hello, Melissa. Welcome.
From Lance invited.
Yes, Lance.
So welcome, Melissa, and all the other tribe members out there. Go and love and hug and connect with Melissa Purdy, please.
Yes, thank you, Melissa. You're gonna have to let us know how much fun you're having and how if Jen's behaving or not.
You don't have to tell us about that.
Oh, look, we got another first timer. Claudia.
Oh yes, I connected with her in the back channels of LinkedIn. So welcome, Claudia. Blue heart, even though it's not on there. Yes.
Yeah, man, we got everybody here. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So
I want to make sure I recognize everybody.
oh yes, we got a lot of New York City people coming.
You notice there's a bunch of people in from New York.
Yes, and don't you have a trip to New York planned in this next?
I do have a trip to New York planned. Hopefully, Bruce, you were supposed to get all the permits. I've got all my rabies shots and everything so that I can get cleared. I think it's like a Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the month. I'm flying up there and I'll be there over the weekend.
Nice.
I'm definitely got to have like a NoBS meetup breakfast, the 26th. So the July 26th, I'm flying over there. Be hanging out there for a few days. So Leslie, we got to connect, sister.
There's a lot of people up there that seem to know us, kind of.
Yeah. Lance, what up, big Lance? Man, and he's up early too, coming in from the West Coast.
And he's been giving us lots of love and support. He's been follow him if you're not following him, because he's been posting some awesome stuff. And then he's been just showering people with celebrations and stuff like that. So thank you, Lance.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. He's also an emotional bungee jumper.
Yes,
right?
he is. That's
super awesome. And anyhow, and if you do, or rather, after you follow Lance, you need to go follow up Trade Partner HQ, because that's another endeavor of his that I think is fabulous. The way he's intending to serve trades out there.
He just did something, like he just jumped and and went after it. What?
Pull the trigger, girl! Like, yes, he's making it happen. So before I keep showing love on all these amazing people, I don't want to forget them. But what are we talking about today, Jen?
This conversation, it comes up a lot with a lot of different things you and I touched, but it really, like, the topic came up because a couple weeks ago, you and I were on a whirlwind roadshow tour, and you were in town for work. But then also we had a speaking engagement for the LCI DFW COP. And in the middle of it, you were like, hey, Jennifer, I just scheduled us to record on a podcast. So it was like this whirlwind day, and we were in the, recording the podcast. And so when we got finished, Jesse dropping all his magic, they were like, oh, well, we're just going to call this episode like Do the Damn Thing, because of the things we were talking about on just how people sometimes struggle, and it has to be like perfect, and the imposter syndrome and all the things that keep us from like taking that next step. And so after that, we've had some other conversations with people, and I think we decided, like, what a great topic to talk about on a Saturday morning. It's just like, what's keeping you from doing the dang thing?
That is exactly right. Nailed it. Yes. And so the podcast that Jennifer's talking about was an interview with Matt and Kyle on the CM Mentors podcast. Mm-hmm. And like, they're probably a few months into like doing that podcast, and Matt created a newsletter. And he and I've had a lot of conversations. Matt is the Himalayan Hoss, construction Yeti. And we talked a lot about, what it was like for him to get started and how difficult it was and some of the things. And he pointed out, he's like, Jess, I see you do a million things. Like, I want to, like, how do you do that? And like, the words I said was just do the damn thing, which sounds easy, right? But it's not that easy. And that's really why I wanted to have this conversation. Cindy also like helped bring it to my mind because, we've been connected to her for a little bit. She came out to the first reciprocal propulsion with just us. And then she came out to the second reciprocal propulsion retreat, and she's pulling, like she's doing
yes.
And so like being able to see that kind of surface some ideas, some thoughts. And so folks, that's what we're going to be talking about is like, what is the thing that you have in your back pocket that you haven't moved on? What are some real constraints to doing stuff? Because some of it's mental, some of it's conditions. I mean, it's really not just because people are scared. there are some real things that I think we need to shine a light on, because it's easy to get in the state of mind of like, I should be doing X. And then because I feel like I should be and I'm not, that compounds like the quicksand. And so how do we get out of the quicksand is really what I'm hoping to surface today. I have the answers for me. And hopefully some of those answers will help you. But also, I know, the tribe members out there, they all have their own secret
magic. Yes.
Right? And like, look, Melissa Pert, she's like, she ain't playing. She's already coming in. Imposter syndrome is so real. Looking to climb out from under the rock. All right,
because
so we're gonna give more love. Oh, I'm sorry.
Do it. No, do it. Love, love, love.
Love on the people, and then we're gonna do the damn thing. So let's see. Who did I miss? I don't want to miss nobody. Maria Martin, what's up, girl?
Good morning.
Happy loving morning. And folks,
she's taking
also
some steps lately.
She's taking a bunch. Like, and so I think that's one of the secrets, and we'll talk
dig
about
into that later.
Right. And that's like the idea behind reciprocal propulsion, because as you grow, I grow. And same thing for everybody out there in the omniverse. Like, as we support each other and you grow as an individual, your momentum speaks to us. And there's like drag, like the NASCAR. I'm not a NASCAR guy, but there's this thing that they do. They'll get behind one vehicle and use less energy because they're in the airstream of the lead vehicle. And so there's drag there that gets you faster than if you were running independently. So there's some magic right there.
There is.
Miss Lydia Chang says, beautiful.
Welcome.
Lydia, thank you for showing up. Is that, I think that's the first time I've seen her name.
Okay, well, yes, and I don't know if it's a blue heart or not, but if you are not connected to Lydia, go find her, follow her, and welcome her, because she, even if she's been out there, she actually like joined the conversation, which is huge.
Absolutely. And also, I want to show some love to the lurkers, right? Because we know there's people that are watching that aren't commenting. Love you too, and wish we could give you love by name, but we don't know that you're there unless you comment. So please comment, and if not, hang out, man, chill out, and then come in on the after party. You can kind of do the same thing in the after party, meaning you don't have to jump on stage and talk. You can just listen to everybody and kind of get familiar with their voices. But we love spending all this time with you. And then Mr.
We haven't seen you in a while.
Oh man, it's gonna be a party today. We got Mr. Ken Dunner coming in from Sugarland, Texas.
Good morning, Texas.
Just outside of Houston. And then look, Lance is calling out Melissa. She took the leap on her safety training business. Wanted her to see what the tribe is about. Boom. So
congratulations.
Melissa's got a safety training business, and we also like, that's a high value thing. So boom, new resource.
It's getting better.
And then this guy, he asked you a question on the pop-up, Jen. Does that guy look familiar?
He does. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Didn't you like do some?
We got so many. Look, we got people on here that are just like completely blowing up the chat over here.
Oh man, look at that. NoBS meetup, New York City. Can't wait. Me neither, Leslie. Thomas LeMay, what's up, baby? Coming from ATL. And Nate, we got Nate back. He's not.
I invited him, and he's been like he's been out kind of doing his thing, and he's made a couple of leaps lately, and so loving that he's back. Thank you, Nate.
Yes, love it. Oh my goodness, look at this. We got Wilson, Mervin, Lyndon, Alexander coming in. Good morning. He's coming in on your page.
Okay, well, love on him because we've not seen him before. And so love on him, give him some love, connect with him. Wilson, welcome. And hopefully you come back. Hopefully you stay and see what all this craziness is about.
Oh, and look, Claudia's letting us know, coming in from Florida with the toddler. That's fun.
Yes.
Oh, James, look, James is here. James
says you're calling him out. Lurking. I love it.
I got you. That's what it's about, baby. Look, Buddy's calling you out.
Buddy, you're not supposed to be writing that. You're not supposed to be typing that.
Get her, buddy. Get her. And then Wilson again, he says, hi, Jennifer. All right. Okay. So So Jen, I know you promised that you would give us all your cheat codes and you wanted to go first. So go for it. It's all you.
Are you for real? Well, okay. I do want to start with, and this came up yesterday in the show with Sarah and Katie.
Okay.
Is you talk about a lot of times when you are in a space of maybe growth or maybe something could happen. A lot of what dictates or a lot of what maybe sets you up for what's next is the people around you. And so, and you talk specifically about, and we've hit this a little bit on some other topics, but specifically about the community or tribe that you like put yourself, that in that space versus accomplices.
Mm.
So can just as we're kind of getting started, because sometimes it's a lot of internal, and we're going to talk about those kind of things that keep us from jumping. But I think a lot of it is also like the environment we put ourselves in and the places and the conversations. I saw a post about the 5 people, that you spend the most time with and things like that. So can you maybe dig in a little bit on just sometimes maybe stopping and evaluating, like, who do I hang out with?
Yeah, no, totally. So, yeah, I was thinking a lot about this last night, right? Because, yes, now I'm in a season of pulling triggers, right? Like, I got an idea, boom, I'm going to do this. I got blog. Okay, I'm going to write a blog. I'm going to do this. I'm going to record this. I'm going to do an audiobook. And it's just go, 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 go. And all of a sudden, like, most of the people around me are currently published authors or working on a book, and
Mhm.
it if I don't pay attention, it just kind of feels like it just happened.
Mhm.
And then when I think back, like, to the beginning, when I say beginning, like, before I started really taking action on my ideas, um, I was surrounded with people. None of them were authors, right? And I'm not saying that you got to surround yourself with
Right.
authors, but and so, like, what was the thing that got that momentum building? And it
Mhm.
took years for me to get that momentum, like, building to the rate that it is now. And one of the things, and it doesn't, like, this is because I was like, okay, well, what's true in if I'm surrounded by accomplices and if I'm surrounded by supportive people? Because we do this, right?
Mhm.
And so what was true is, and what got me unlocked was acts of service for others, right? That and I'll be more clear. I had um one I got a sponsor. It was 12-step meetings, and they asked he one of the chores or the actions that I was given was to clean all of the ashtrays. And I, turned up my nose at that. Like, what do you mean clean the ashtrays? That's not my job. Like, they need to take care of their own stuff. And he's like, no, no, you need to do it. And so a simpler way to think of it as, acts of service for others is getting outside of myself. Because before I went and cleaned those ashtrays, that was like the very first thing I can think of that I did that wasn't solely for my own benefit. Everything I did was all about me.
Mhm.
Cleaning those ashtrays forced me to, like, humble myself and think of other people. And I did it and I hated it. And so little by little, I started doing more things in service to others. When I started doing that, I started noticing that the group that I spent the most amount of time with, they weren't necessarily a supportive group. They fit the bucket of accomplices. And so what do I mean by
Mhm.
accomplices? The easiest, like the clearest example I can give of that is like when people break up, when a relationship ends, right? Everybody on Team Jess is going to villainize my ex
Mhm.
and talk about why she wasn't worth it or what she did wrong and how I'm so great and what I deserve and all of these things. And so that doesn't help me grow. That helps me stay in the same place,
Yes.
right? Like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, if she can't take you at your worst, she don't deserve you at your best, and like all that garbage, right? Like, it helps pump me up a little bit. It helps pump my ego, but it doesn't help me reflect and see what my contribution to the problem is.
Mhm.
And when I think about that period of time in my life, I spent so much time with accomplices that there was no reason to grow.
Right.
So not only was I surrounding myself by accomplices, I was also only doing things that only benefited me. And so that's another observation along the way is if all I'm doing is in benefit of myself,
Mhm.
the road, it's like running uphill and it's raining, right? It's
Mhm.
slippery, it's hard, it's arduous. And so finding a group of people, and it started small, like one or two different people that were going to support me. And when I'll ask you this, Jen, when I say the word support, what does that look like to you?
Support for me, it just means that you are accessible and available when good or bad. Like you're just if I and you know I call you a lot for a lot of different things, but that I think knowing I have support is that there's somebody there that's going to be able to, I'm not say hold me up, but like somebody that I can bounce things off of, I can lean on, I can like I'm going to tell you the biggest thing for me is I can vent to.
Mm,
And to me, for me, I have a lot going on in my life. I got family, I got work, I got a lot of other things going on. And there's times where it's nobody's fault, but life just sucks or something bad happens. And it's
yes.
nobody's fault and there's not a fix. But like you are in this place, and I mean, literally, we were in a car, and I was like, I'm just so angry right now, and I just like need to like be mad. And you like listened, and you didn't try to solutionize. You didn't tell me what was right or wrong. You didn't do anything. You just like let me be mad and let me like get it out. And then, then ask some really good questions that kind of helped me reset and get in a good place. And then go, okay, we're good. We got this. We're good. Like that space, if you can have someone that you can do that with, and there's not like, okay, they've got to be the answer guy, or they've got to be the, oh, you should have done like all this stuff. If you can just be in a place where you can just vent and there's no judgment, there's nothing that is there that is making you feel bad or good or whatever, like that's like a magic place.
Yes. Yes. And so thank you for that. Thank you. Because I know you're talking about me. But also like there's a delineation that it could seem like the person your group is or my group is being supportive, but they're really just less abrasive accomplices.
Uh-huh.
And what I mean by that is what I like the folks in my life, which are a lot of y'all are on here right now, that I put in my support bucket, um, understand or have an awareness or just straight up know that I am working towards a goal, right? I'm on a mission to do X, Y, or Z. And when I'm in need of help, when I'm weak, when I need somebody to like Thomas says, carry the skillet, you'll carry it for me for a period of time
Mm-hmm.
and then help me get back on track.
Yep.
So it's not a place to go hide
Yes.
and slack.
Yep.
It's a place of get your breath, right? You're stuck a little bit, stay a little stuck. I got you, and get your ass in gear.
That's what I think Leslie said. Leslie made a good point of just venting. Great skill, get it out and then move forward. It's not
Yeah.
like get it out and stay in that place and just It's like, okay, I feel good now. And you got to watch that whole thing happen in a car ride.
I did. And it was awesome because I could tell like you were in a space there was a lot going on emotionally, like logically, there was and the decisions needed to be made quickly. And you wanted to make a responsible decision, but you were also being human at the same time, right? Because and I think that's the thing that I have forgotten in my past when like mentoring and supporting other people, because I'm not always human, right? Like for me, it's like,
Robot,
okay,
like you got to be this robot and not just
yes,
shut down any feelings you have. And
right. And that's not reasonable. And so, well, I'm going to give a shout out to another lurker, Clyde
woo
King.
woo, Clyde. Woo
What's up?
woo.
Y'all need to hit Clyde up because he posts like day of the week, of the work week, he posts some awesome thoughts out there. The video, Clyde, I've been seeing your video. I'm like, damn, bro, slow down because
yes,
better.
he's
And you
been
just
bringing it. He's giving you a little bit of competition out there.
totally, man, totally.
Well, and Colin, I just want to give like love to Melissa. Like, this is her first show of like joining, and she's like loving on people and hey, shouting them out. And you're not, I mean, like, Melissa, you're already part of this tribe.
Yeah, that's what it's about. That's what, let's connect and support each other.
Yes.
So, and she also says extra love for the mamas pulling double duty.
Yes.
I have no idea, and I agree. And so Bradley says, easy is overrated. The condition that society imposes on what normal should be is too easily absorbed by the outliers that have abundant potential. We're going to have to dig into that. But no common support. I've done the damn thing, and the level of normalcy I experienced now deserves an Attenborough voiceover. And so, you know, this idea about the outliers easily absorbing it, and I'm going to just be straight up, like I identify as one of those outliers. In that it's very easy for me, like, oh, idea, let me go do that. Oh, there's a conference, let me sign up, let me go do that. There's this new thing, let me sign up, let me learn how to do that, let me do that. And people often ask me, and I had the same situation back when I was like doing full-time work as a regional lean manager, where a lot of my peers were like, man, Jess, you get so much done, and da 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 da. I'm like, yeah. What you're forgetting is I've designed my life in a certain way that enables me to do that. Right. And what I mean by that is I live by myself. Like you can see in the background, there ain't no plants, there ain't no creatures with legs in my space. So all of my time is my time. And because of that, I do have the bandwidth to go and do all these other radical, crazy things and tinker around and study and learn and experiment because of the conditions that I'm living in. Now, I did it on purpose, and it's taken many, 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 many years to get things the way they are financially, all the things, right? Secure, like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, all the most important things, like those are straight. And so all of those things have contributed to me now being in this space where I can learn and where I can serve and where I can be ultra available. And so that's why I say I'm an outlier as it relates to Bradley's comment, which also points to the fact that not everybody's in that situation. I have a co-host up here right now that has a lot of critters in her space. So what is that like, Jen? Like growing, challenging yourself, and also being a mom and being all of the things that you are?
I don't like you right now. It's a lot, which in itself, because I'm a lot, that makes my world really big sometimes, but also overwhelming sometimes. And I think in the last couple of weeks, you and I have had a conversation specifically where I had someone in my not workspace. So we were talking about our live streams. We were talking about some of the stuff that you and I do together. And I may have mentioned this on a previous show, but they said, I struggle watching the NoBS live stream. And I was like, okay, well, tell me more about that, because it kind of took me by surprise. And number one, this is not a space that I would normally just go, okay, tell me what you're talking about. I would get defensive, and I would then start, okay, like justifying whatever it is. And again, created the space to where they could share that I struggle because the person that you show up as on there, I know it's you, but I also know that is not the person a lot of times you show up as at home. And so that was tough. And immediately my gut reaction was to get upset and to get angry and to justify and to get defensive. Because what do you mean? Like, I am me all the time. And that's true. I am. But I also, because of the pressures, just a second, my computer just blacked out.
Oh, I
No,
can
no,
still
no. I know. Yeah,
still
it
be.
was just, it timed out. Because of the pressures and the responsibilities outside of work that I own and take responsibility for, I cannot sometimes be kind of just show up and be me and relax and enjoy myself and have fun because of the responsibilities. And I was allowing those things to dictate the person I showed up as. And that I need to do this, and you need to do this, and you need the responsibilities and accountability and those things, because I was making sure that things were getting done. But it was also limiting that fun part and that, enjoying life part with those people that are super important to me. And so, to go back to your question, it's a lot, and sometimes we know, a lot of us all the time, inside the gate, outside the gate, like we separate those spaces, and we think we've got it all under control and that we're running things. Believe it or not, everybody sees it and everybody notices it. And the people that it impacts the most are those people that you go home to, because you are running it. And most of our people, high performing, they are killing it. They're out there just, making things happen. And when they get home, they still have responsibilities, but they don't allow some of that to kind of fall away, to be able to be in the moment and to, just to love on those people. And for me, it's just to have fun, allow myself just to be in that moment and have fun and enjoy. And this week was an example of taking some vacation time and not taking my computer and being in the moment. And we went to, I don't know how many of you have gone to Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania, but I did as a kid because my family's up there. And so I brought my girls with me, and we went to Hershey Park and spent the day at the amusement park and went to Chocolate World and all these things. And just in the moment, not worrying about anything else, but just enjoying that time. And they had a blast, and you could tell they were just, they loved just having me there with them and not distracted, but also oh, how much is that? All these little things that normally is where I live. So it's a lot. I think that's the answer to your question.
No, I love it because the door is open, y'all. You don't even know. So, but first, I'm going to give a shout out to Mr. Will Sullivan. Says hello, coming in on this Saturday. Will, be warned, I am going to be in New York starting July 26th, and I am absolutely going to come find you. If I got to come to the Children's Museum, that's where you'll find me. And congratulations. He just announced
a new position.
Yeah, so awesome. We'll love you, my friend. So Jen, I know before your vacation, there was an observation shared with you on a boat by a young lady. Would you mind give us a little more details on that, please?
Yes. Yes. So I was taking a day, spending the day with Jamie Knox. She invited us to go and hang out on the boat with her, and it was me and my girls and a niece, and we were on the boat and we were tubing and laughing, having fun. And we got done. We were in the car driving home, and I was like, okay, what did you have? Where was the most fun you had today? What was the thing that you enjoyed the most? And they were, the tubing and the this and that. And then one of the young ladies said, I think today was the first time that I ever saw Jennifer have fun and laugh. And I'm in the front seat driving, and I'm just, she comes over a lot. She hangs out a lot with us. And it was a moment where I had to go, well, what the heck? Jennifer, because I know I have fun all the time, but in what environment? And then how much of that do I allow other people to see? And I think that was the wake-up call for me, a big one, is that I think that I'm having fun and enjoying myself, but the people around me don't feel it.
Yeah. And they don't experience that.
And my daughter, and within the same vein, my daughter a couple of times is like, Mom, remember when we were at Walmart in the parking lot and we drove, we parked and there were a lot of birds there and you and I just ran through the birds and they flew everywhere and we were laughing. I was like, yeah. And she's like, man, that was so awesome. That was 2.5 years ago. And I'm like, dang it, Jennifer. Like, why is that the memory she's holding on to right now? Because that's what she remembers us having fun with. So, it was a wake up call and it was like tough. And I had to like take it and say thank you and like really do a lot of self reflection. And you and I have had a lot of conversations about that. And so I am intentionally working on being able to do that. And to me, like how does that tie back to do the damn thing? Like sometimes it's not just this big, write a book and I'm going to start a business. And I think that is sometimes we get caught up in those big mountains that we want to tackle and overcome and whatever that is. Sometimes it's like internal. It's those things that we just don't allow to happen because we're so caught up in other things or because I just can't do that. And for me, like that, it was huge inside of me. Like it didn't look like that much for everyone else, but like to be intentional on how do I overcome that and how do I just do it and figure it out and be clumsy and clunky and all this stuff, but then make more memories and more memorable moments for my kids.
Oh, amazing. Woo! All right. I'm so glad you told me to ask you those questions. So Sarah says, be in the moment. All right. And I'm gonna come back to that because you said some stuff that I think, or rather it's another one of those thinking models that'll help us do the damn thing. Because we often think about I need to start doing these things. And I'm just gonna leave it there. I'll come back to that.
Okay. Got lots of comments over there.
But Claudia says, Jennifer, I agree with that so much. There are definitely different sides of us, and we choose almost involuntarily which sides we show in which environment. So that it takes us back to conditions, right? And Claudia also says it's hard, perfect at home, perfect wife, perfect mom. It's exhausting. And so like that series of perfect things, what it says to me is where does the need or necessity to be the perfect XYZ come from? My assertion is that it is self-imposed. And that's part of the conversation you and I had about Jennifer having fun, because you operate from a perspective of being the responsible person all the time, managing risk, making sure things are okay. But who asked for that? When the people around you are saying, I just want to have fun with you. I don't need you to be the responsible, authoritative problem solver, risk manager all the time. But we impose that, or we take that on and make it our thing. What do you think about that, Jennifer?
Yes, I agree.
Yes,
I agree. No, you're.
So Leslie says,
it's very self-imposed. Yes.
Yeah. Be your imperfect best. Amen, sister.
But it was conditions. So, it goes back. You said conditions. You said conditions, and it is
So
absolutely 100% conditioning. My dad and mom got divorced when I was 9. I had 3 younger brothers, and we were with my dad. And from the time I was 9 until forever, like I was the person helping be the responsible party to help raise and, grow up really fast and be in an environment to where that responsibility and accountability and things were, placed on me, and I took them. And that was kind of the person, it shaped who I was, but it also like, I've been that responsible person in charge of things and managing things and making sure things were happening like since I was 9.
Yeah. So I know you've taken action. So I'm going to ask you this question. I'm also going to pose the question to the group. This way, while you're answering, people can be responding.
Then I'm going to ask it back to you.
You're breaking up. So the question to you, Jen, like on this idea of being more relaxed and being more present and being more fun to your people at home. what needs to be in place for you to get into action? And I think you've already taken action. So you actually have like a case study to refer back to. What needed to be in place for you to do that damn thing? For the tribe members out there in the Omniverse, um, what needs to be in place for you to get into action? So, and after you answer, Jen, I've got that other little cheat code around starting new things and doing the damn thing. So, Jen, what needed to be in place for you to get into action and have more fun?
Okay, well, a couple things. Number one is I had people that gave me feedback, and I said thank you, and I took it, and then I did some self-reflection on like what does that mean and how what can I do different. So I'm going to tell you the biggest one was I got feedback, and I didn't start defending, making excuses, all these things as to why I have to be this person. I know why, and I can give you reasons why, and that can justify a lot of things. Or I can go, do I want to be better? And so I had to take it, and I had to, humble myself a little bit. And then I think I have it all figured out, and my, kids have figured out I don't. And so took that. Then for me, it's then having the conversation with someone on, hey, here's what I'm struggling with, and here's what happened, because I can hold it, and I can I got this, I've got it figured out. For me, it doesn't work, because I think I have it figured out along with 100 other things. And so sharing it with you and sharing it in some conversations on, here, I'm struggling with this, and I'm not sure what to do. And this is not the first time where I had to own that I couldn't do it all by myself. Like when I had a house that flooded, and I just had to go, I need help. I don't know what to do. And that is not a comfortable place for me. And so I think just owning it and taking the information, self-reflecting, sharing it, and then small intentional moments where I made a different decision. Tiny, not, I'm going to now be the fun person and I'm going to do all that. There's no way that would have worked for me. And so it was, we're going to go on this, and I'm going to not try to micromanage everything. And I'm going to ask, and I'm going to let them make decisions. And it was scary, and it's still oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And it was fun, and they had fun, and they loved it. And it was one step closer to, somewhere that I probably need to be.
And so how comfortable was it to just order the damn nachos?
It was not comfortable. It wasn't. It's just, it was, I hate you right now. It was, no, we were one of its money. And you and I talk about this a lot, is I don't know how many people out there can relate, but you probably can. But I grew up in a house where, you had to scrimp and save, and you didn't have a lot. And that was how I was conditioned. And you single father, working 3 jobs. And so my money mental model when it comes to finances is I never want to be in a place to where I'm without. And I don't want my kids to be in a place where I'm without. And so the answer to that is just completely just keep everything locked down, and just justify every penny that goes out there, which is in my mind, I know that that's not feasible when it comes to trying to, have a family. But I can be aware of Mom, we're at the water park, and it's can we get the nachos and an icy? And I'm my brain is going, that's $26 for 2 nachos and 2 ices. My brain is that makes no sense, but we're at the water park, and they're having fun, and got the nachos. And I mean, it was literally a decision where I'm yes, we can get the nachos. And inside I'm oh my gosh, it's going to be $26. I mean, it was, and I let them have the nachos, and they sat down and they ate the nachos, and then they didn't quite finish the nachos. And I'm in my mind going, you got to finish them because we paid this much money for them. And I just let them finish and throw them away. And they had so much fun. And it literally did not break the bank. And it was so hard. And I know it sounds so crazy and what the heck, Jennifer, but that's my brain all the time.
Yeah, Jen, it's not crazy. I think, thank you for your vulnerability, because I think we all get in these weird, there's things that we continue, we want to operate differently, but we continue to do things that don't align with where we're headed. Yes. And so Thomas LeMay says, yes, Jen, you're explaining the concept of excusing, explaining away deltas instead of taking positive action in terms of receiving the feedback, which you like phenomenal, right? Like when you and I talk, I know sometimes I say some tough things and you receive it gracefully. And that's why we continue to have that type of dialogue. And same thing with many other people out there. And so, hold on, I'm going to do some shout outs. So Yesenia, what's up, girl? She says, good morning, Picos. Yes. And then we got Jared Wilson, who says, apologies for tardiness. No apologies necessary.
No, you are managing a lot, so you're good.
And then Will, along with Bruce, have alerted the authorities that our energy may interrupt the power grid in the New York City.
I completely agree. So, you'll have to do some lives for sure.
Oh man, that'll be fun. So one of the things that I think is critically important that I actually started practicing in terms of starting new things or going down a new path, doing the damn thing, I have to stop some things. And I don't think that we talk about that enough. It's always, let me be more flexible. Let me be more relaxed. Let me be more open. Okay. And what are you going to stop doing? I'm going to start doing a blog. Okay. And what am I going to stop doing? And so I think that's we, for whatever reason, and Maria says it nice, right? Like it's really hard. We should all over ourselves. I should be able to continue doing all of the things that I'm doing and start doing all of these things. And that's not reasonable. It's absolutely not a reasonable expectation to put on ourselves. And James, this is a big one, but I think it's important because I'm pretty sure it's not the only one. Can you see my eyes?
I can see your eyes, yes.
So James says, I'm realizing why I've been too busy the past year to tune in with you guys on Saturday, because these truths ring too close to home and I'm in a season where I have some obligations I have to finish before I can start something new. Again, stopping, right? Start something new or get realigned like I want to. Not to mention, I'm torn between excelling in my career or my personal dreams or goals. That's not to say I'm not doing my job, because I am, but it's what I do with my extra time and energy that becomes the struggle. And so thank you for sharing that, James, because I know that's a big thing, man. Thank you for inviting us to do in with you on that. But it is difficult because we create this dynamic in our head of I'm failing over here and I got to sacrifice. It's either or, and it's really not. I mean, in terms, we talked a little bit, Jen, about the self-imposed expectations and the pressures, the self-imposed pressures, right? Maria also says, hell yeah, it's self-imposed. My daughter's experience will be better than the one I had. Phenomenal. And that's really the change or the thinking that we need to consider. We need to, like, for me, I had to stop thinking about the trophies, the accolades, the celebrations, and thinking about the long game. What is my behavior? What are my actions put into place that are going to have those long lasting ripples of impact? You ever heard that phrase before?
I have. Yes.
And so with that, it's required. I am required to give myself grace on things, meaning I've started a blog, like my podcast. If anyone who listens to the Learnings and Missteps podcast, I've fallen off track. Like this year, I'll get on a clip and then I'll fall off, and then I'll get on a clip and I'll fall off. But you know what? I had to, and I apologize. And you know what? Nobody has called and said, Jesse, what the hell? I haven't got my podcast episode, right? Yes. But in me, I feel like, man, I'm failing. I'm a loser. I'm supposed to be able to do this thing. And who put those expectations out there? I did. Nobody is bashing me for that thing. And so I have to be graceful with myself that I am making a decision to spend more time here. And I have to like pump the brakes on this thing, because if I don't, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to eat poorly. I'm not going to get my exercise. I'm not going to journal. Like, I'm not going to take care of myself. And so, James, like in terms of what you're doing personally or outside of work, you said it, Jen. It's the little things.
It is so tiny, like just a tiny one decision. And the magic is no one can see the turmoil in your head. Like if you can just understand that, because I am not saying when it happened, and James gave me some love on, I'm not alone about the nachos, but thank you, James, so much. But like nobody knew all of that was going on in my head. They were just having fun. And like, and that's okay for it to be that way inside your head as you're trying to make changes, because it's not going to be just easy. Like Bradley said earlier, it's not going to be just this easy thing. It's going to be something that they're going to see it and they're going to feel it. And inside of you, you're going crazy. And it is like, I don't even know how else to explain it. Like I was picking apart everything. Like I told Jesse, I was like, she left 3 nachos in the thing and she threw them away. Like who looks at that? Who counts those things? Oh, I did, because I spent $7-8 on a dang thing of nachos. And yes, she didn't know, and she had fun, and they walked away, and in the end was like so thankful that they got to have nachos and an icy. Like it's like a sickness. I really think so.
Well, I think it's a natural sickness, Jen. And Bradley puts it in like very analytical terms, because I know we have a lot of analytical thinkers out there. And he says it's a risk analysis thing, right? A risk or loss analysis thing. If the benefits of 95% or 87.5%, whatever that marker is, success are tolerable and acceptable enough to justify not expending the effort and resources to increase the gain, you just found the sweet spot, right? Like we do have to decide what we're not gonna do. Yes. Right? Like that's what we need. And we don't think about that. We think about, I need to do all of those things. Leslie, of course, I've got to bring her up because she said my name. Say my name, say my name. She says, bullseye, Jesse. I need to choose what to stop. That is what stops me from doing the new thing. Of course, I can keep hoping that more hours are added to each day. LOL, but they're not going to happen. So here's another thing that I do. I have this app on my phone, and I know I'm not the only one. It tells me how much screen time I've spent. Mm-hmm. Yep. And every time I tell myself I don't have enough time, I said, let me go check my screen time. Mm-hmm. And every time, like I've told you about this, I just started doing the Duolingo thing again so I can learn Portuguese and learn Russian. I'm going to focus on Portuguese right now, and started playing around with my guitar because, I got to go on tour next year. With and Buddy. I'm like, man, that, I don't know. With Buddy. Yeah, Buddy and I are going on tour. And I mean, I'm talking about 30 minutes out of every day to spend on those 2 things. Mm-hmm. My first response was, I don't have time. Mm-hmm. Well, hold on. Let me go check my phone app. You know what? I got plenty of time because I got hours, like average of 3.5, 4 hours a day on my phone. I have the time. And so I think part of
keep going. I got a question when you get done.
Yes. So, and I know part of it, folks, is get real with yourself, and get real in 2 ways. One, what are you doing with your time? Like for real, what are you doing with your time? A. B, be real with everybody around you. Instead of saying, I can't do that, I can't go there, no. Is it really that you can't, or is it that you don't want to? And say so. No, yes. I don't want to do that. Right now, I have these things that are the most important things. So I am not coming to that thing, whatever it is. That feels abrasive, but for me, it's very liberating to tell somebody, that's not in my interest. I'm not interested. I don't want to go. Love you, but not going to do it. All right. So, question.
So I actually, you what you just said. Now I have a second question, but I'll start with the first one.
You only get one.
I get 2. Because you've been peppering me with a lot of stuff. So 2. So the first one is part of that decision on I can't do it because I'm too busy, but you checked your screen time. I know you've told the story before, but some people haven't heard it. But talk about the decision when you had to, when you decided to get, you hired Kim and you spent money on a website and all these things, mastermind, and you went, that's a lot of money. And then you justified it by, well, it's not as much as I spent over here. Can you tell that story? Because I think it's very relevant.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go back a little bit. My friend Adam Gates, he's an architect here in San Antonio. He has a podcast, and I was listening to one of the episodes. It was like December of 2019. And one of the questions he asked was, what did you learn over the past decade that you can carry forward to transform the next decade that's about to start? And I thought, like, I love that question because it's not weak sauce, like, what's your 5-year plan, right? It was bigger. Mm-hmm. And man, I spent weeks thinking about that, thinking. And so what I landed on, and there was a lot of lessons over those 10 years, but the big ones that could be transformative. At the time, I was a regional lean manager, traveling the country, doing super awesome stuff, doing a job that I had no idea that I could do. And so the question that I ran through my head was, how did I get here? And so I kept ticking away at that, peeling the scab on that. And the answer I landed on was, well, I pursued my curiosities, right? There were these secret little things that I would learn in the closet that I didn't want anybody to know about, that I hid. But as I continued learning those things, it created the conditions or gave me the skill set and knowledge base to do things differently. So that set the path. That was one. Mm-hmm. The second big thing was, over those 10 years, I can't back it up. Like, I don't have the evidence of it, but I'm pretty damn sure I spent at least 6 figures on legal fees, court fees, like all of the things with all the arrests that I had. And I'm pretty damn frugal, right? I'm like you, Jen. Like, I'm counting the freaking nachos. Right? Like, I live with very little comfort because I don't want to spend my money on things that I think are dumb.
Yes.
But I'll pay my damn lawyer 15 grand to keep my pretty ass out of jail. Right. And so I was able, this was the takeaway, I was able to come up with large sums of money, and it didn't impact the way I was living. Like, it didn't break me. I actually was saving money while paying all these extra fees. The truth is because I was spending all that money on alcohol, drinking, partying, all of that. And so I said, okay, those are the 2 big rocks. How do I apply that going forward? Very simple. If I spent 100 grand the past year on dumb shit, like that's how easy it was. I can spend 100 grand the next 10 years investing in myself, right? Like 10 grand a year. I've done it before. I can do it again. What am I going to spend that 10 grand in? Pursuing my curiosities. Mm-hmm. And I've done that. Like, I went and got in a coaching pod. I got a mastermind about the book. Anyways, so Kim White has been instrumental in a lot of the things that are out there in terms of the website and the book and And she and I were talking about, working on the proposal of what services she was going to provide. And so she gave me a price. And like, this was my real logic. I'm like, ooh, that's not cheap. Like, I hesitated, like, ooh, that's a lot of money. Is there a way we can break it up? And I was getting cheap. And she's like, Jess, I'm trying to help you understand, like, all of these things are super, super connected. You're working right now. I had a full-time job at the time. And you want speed, I can do this. I'm like, you know what? You're right. And it's cheaper than a DWI. Like that. And I didn't say it jokingly. I said it like for real, because that was the thinking. I've spent more. So sometimes people will ask, like, Jess, how are you going to, like, you're just going to spend, I had photographers and videographers at that thing, at the launch party.
For your book.
Yeah, for the book. That was, I don't know, $1,500. And I had a personal friend like, dude, you're spending that much on that? I'm like, bro, I spent more than that on ankle monitors. and that wasn't the type of jewelry that anybody likes to spend money on. And so, again, it's back to that real life truth of, okay, I'm saying I don't have time. What am I spending my time on? I'm saying I don't have money. What have I spent money on that has brought little to no value except for like keeping me out of jail? And is this a better decision? Yes or no? I try to keep it as simple as possible. Is that the story that you were looking for?
Yes, 100%. But I think it's relevant. And we talk about money and we talk about time. And like a lot of times we lump them together and we like making decisions on it's going to cost too much or I don't have time. And I think the two stories both of us shared are examples of sometimes it's like looking at it and putting it in perspective.
Yes. Yes. Right. And I'll say this, I'll add, is being surrounded by the people, the caliber of people that I'm surrounding myself with now really helps me look at it that way. Because I may be out on a limb here, but I'm pretty damn sure there's very few tribe members that have ever had to consider the cost of an ankle monitor and a breathalyzer in their vehicle. What do you think? Am I too far off base on that?
I would say, you're right. You're probably right. Yes. And those were, but again, just me even watching the things that you're putting your time and money into, like they're all to serve and they're all to like better you. You're learning, you're growing. And like, if we're not doing those things, we're going backwards.
Yes.
And so my other question to you, God's second one is, and this came up a little bit yesterday on, Sarah and Katie's the live stream you did with her, but we talk a lot about do the damn thing, just jump. Like why? What's keeping you from going? What's keeping you from going? And you and I had a good conversation about this afterwards. Was we get so caught up in those moments where we are able to project. Why doesn't this person do that? Why don't they just like get off get off your butt and go and make decisions and don't be scared and imposter syndrome and you're going to be fine and all these things, but we don't sometimes take into account why people don't jump and why they're not doing those big things that you are like cheering them on and coaching them and stuff like that. So can you dig a little bit into like sometimes like, yes, we are all like high performing and go and just jump and it'll be fine. And like, but we also need to take into account why people are choosing not to do something.
Yes. And I'm going to start my answer by sharing Sarah's comment.
Okay.
Because my focus right now is spending more time meditating. As Jesse, that's me, shared with me yesterday, sometimes the action we need to take is to quiet our mind. Silence gives us space to create. So taking action might be giving yourself time for silence. And so on the same vein, one of the questions they asked me was like, somebody asked, like, what do you do when you're stuck? Mm-hmm. Right. And so part of that is rest. If you're stuck, rest. It may be a season to take a breather and rest. Yesterday, the day before, I've been in this kind of foggy space. I think I spent too much time in front of my laptop because my eyes are burning, blah, blah, blah. What I want to do is keep pushing, keep doing, keep producing. But everything around me was telling me, just rest, dummy. And so I rested. Now, today, like the conditions that I have right now are very different than what they used to be. And so an example of like people wanting to do something or aspiring to some other things and like really not doing it, there's some realities there, right? For me to learn, like the quickest way for me to learn new stuff or new skills is to get a book. A book costs $20, give or take, right? Today, buying a book is not a big deal. Like I don't even look at the price. I'm in a very fortunate state in that I have the funds to do that sort of thing. There was a time where $20 was half of the cash I had in the bank. And so buying a book meant, I don't know, bologna sandwiches all week. It meant not going to the laundromat that week. Like it was a very serious decision. The risk and return on where I spent that money was heavy. And so and now I'm using money as an example of a resource. So let's zoom out. And what other resources do we have? We have our network, we have time, we have knowledge, right? And so if Tamara, she planted this seed in my head and I posted about it yesterday. It's like sometimes our network, the people that we're around, that being a resource is not equipped to help me get to where I need to be. And so when I surround myself with a bunch of forward thinking people that are challenging themselves and that invest in personal growth and contribution into the community, I am more likely to do those things. If I surround myself with people that are also have low resources and worry so much, all they see is the risk and the loss, and they don't see potential in things, because there are high performing people that only see risk and loss.
Mhm.
And that's good. You know what? If I wanted to be an investment banker, like for real, if I wanted to make a wave in investments, I would curate a circle of people that only see things through the risk lens, because that would make me a better investor. I don't want to be an investor. I have an entrepreneurial spirit. I like breaking shit. I like creating new things. I like having audacious experiences. Because of that, I have to curate a group of people, that cocoon that Tamara talked about, that lives in that space, or at least flirts with that space, so that I can continue going down that path. And so, in summary, like, the reality of it is, some of us aren't making the decisions, aren't doing the damn thing. One, because we think to make the decision means I have to accomplish it tomorrow. False. All you got to do is take one baby step and move in that direction. Like, and when I say baby step, it may just be simply making a decision. Then,
or letting somebody else make a decision.
exactly, right? And then getting comfortable with the decision I just made, and then actually taking action in that direction. And so, anyways, it's all of that. What are my resources? How scarce are the resources I have? Because my decision making, my action forward, it's almost in proportion to the resources that I have access to. What do you think?
True. No, I 100% agree. And I think we self-impose those restrictions, and we limit ourselves, whether it's because of what we think about ourselves or our self-worth, but also like having to get vulnerable and trust people around you. That's a big deal. And I'm going to tell you, based on a lot of people that I engage with, those high performing people that are just out there changing the world, those are things that they struggle with. And I mean, again, they got to where they are because they are go-getters, and they are doers, and they handle things. But if you see those people out there just making things happen, like, just stop and, ask them some questions that kind of make them have to think a little bit, or have to stop and hesitate, because you're going to see that there is still other things in there that they may not even recognize or know that they're happening. And I mean, I know, because Jesse asks those questions to me all the time, but it's like, sometimes we do, and you brought it up, but I want to hit it again, like with Steve Martin. Like, sometimes we do show up, and we are people not scared to work hard. Like, everybody on here is not scared to work hard. But sometimes that's showing up, and then, kind of being able to have those real conversations, those no BS conversations, and then receiving conversations, and then going back to that rest. Like, I know we talk about reciprocating and putting it back out there, but also just the rest part, and just like sitting with it. You and I talk about stabilization a lot, and that we're going, and it's just not conducive to like being able to function at a high level all the time. Like, it's just not, and you're going to burn out, and everybody knows you're going to have that drop, and you got to reset. And just, how do you stabilize yourself to where you can take some jumps, but then you also can see, okay, this is what these jumps did. And then this is now, okay, this is what I learned from it. Okay, now I can do this other jump. It doesn't have to be jumping off Mount Everest every time. It can literally be just like taking the step in this direction. Okay, how did that make me feel? What did that do? Buying the damn nachos. Like, it was one of those, but it didn't break the bank, and my kids were happy, and it didn't like, I didn't like have a meltdown in the middle of the water park. Like, everything was fine. And so, but it's little things, like, what are those little steps we're taking that will get us to those bigger jumps?
Yes. So a couple of thoughts sprung up while you were talking, Jen.
Yes.
And in terms of resource, and I failed to mention it, but the comments are like, y'all are amazing. Thank you for all the comments. I'm sorry I can't share them all, because we're a little bit all over the place. So Steve, love it. Show up, vent, receive, rest, SVRR cycle. Yes, sir. Exactly right. And so, in terms I need to start thinking, adding this to my thinking, is one of the resources that has been profoundly valuable for me is my rest time, my thinking time, right? And so LinkedIn user, I'm guessing that might probably Tanya, I'm not sure. Yes, so scarce. Time is our most valuable commodity. Bradley says, not just time and money on the line, resiliency is in the pot. Melissa, thank you, girl, for showing up and bringing it. She's, I think we all need peace and quiet much more than we give ourselves the time and space to for it. And so that's where I'm like, yes, because I have developed a practice of journaling and I say journaling, it's probably more accurate to call it thinking, because mostly I'm not writing every second, but an hour a day, it's thinking time. And I block out time every month for the same thing. That helps me recover. That helps me kind of see clear, like beyond my busy, I got to do all these things. Like, wait a minute, like why? What's the point? Is it tracking? And what it really helps me do is understand the new conditions that I'm in. And so what do I mean by that? As I'm creating things and growing, now I'm an entrepreneur, like all these things, right? Author, audiobook. Yeah. Did you know I have a second?
I did. It just launched it was like in the last week.
What also is true that we forget, if we stay hyper busy, we're in a new set of conditions, new people, new environments. And I think you just went through this recently. You don't have to share, but we find out all of a sudden, wait a minute, I thought this is where I wanted to be. I don't think this is where I want to be. And that's okay. When I get there, I get to change direction. I get to choose to stop doing things so that I can start doing other things.
Yes.
And Maria points out the old pattern has to hurt enough for us to make a new choice. Amen. So we got 3 minutes left. We do have an after party. So I think everybody's going to get a homework assignment, since we never brought this question up. Yes. So the question is, what is that one thing that you have been keeping in your back pocket? And I'm going to tell you, you know this, Jen, but try Omniverse. I know for a fact that the way for me to get things out into like reality, I have, like, it's in my head. The next step I do is I write it down. And then after I write it down, I share it with somebody. And like, that's the path. After that, the damn thing takes off. You get different rates, but that's how I do it. So the question and the challenge to you out there in the Omniverse, post now or throughout the week, but be ready to come back and share that on our next live stream, is what's the one thing, idea, aspiration, whatever, that you've been keeping in your back pocket because of whatever reason. Let's just talk about it. Nobody's going to pressure you into doing it. Let's just talk about it. What do you think, Jen?
Yes, that works. I know that anytime something comes out of my mouth and we talk about, and again, we ideate a lot, but when it's out in the Omniverse, but it's just come, and it's not just in my head, like everything has happened, like everything. So I completely agree. And so adding to the challenge is like, we know some of you are like, yes, I got it. I know what it is. I'm going to post it, tag us, let us all love on it and comment on it and share it. Some of you are like, yeah, I'm not there yet. And that's okay. Like, send it in a private chat or send it in an email or a text to somebody and go, hey, I've been really thinking. It doesn't matter. Send it to one of us. We're fine with that too. But like, it doesn't have to be out there for the whole world, but just share it with someone. And even, you know, your conversation can be that you shared something with someone and here's what you're hoping happens. Doesn't matter. But like, that's like, just put something out there and have another conversation with someone about it. So yes. I agree.
Yes. And tell a freaking tree, right? Like,
right.
You'll get there, right? Bradley says, impractically practical. Hell yes, my friend. And now I know it's Tanya. Beautiful demonstration of what we're talking about. The decision not to take action on everything all at the same time, to leave time for self, is a conscious one. but you guys have definitely helped me with. No emotional bungee jumpers for me at the moment, but she's on day 40 of Duolingo, which had been on the list forever. Esta chica finalmente está aprendido español. Watch out, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Shoot. I don't speak Spanish very well, but I could dance me some Spanish. So we're fixing to jump into the after party, and I want to make an announcement to the tribe, and I'll be making it like super public later in the week. I have a audiobook challenge going on right now for becoming the promise you are intended to be. And the challenge is this: post a picture of the Amazon review that you left on Amazon. Like, and it has to be like an honest, for real review, meaning don't fluff it up. If you think it's crap, say so. And post that on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook. And the first 3 on each of those platforms, I'm gonna hook you up with a little free coupon to get the audio version on Spotify for free. So folks, if you're up for it, yes, it's going to help other people see the reviews, and the book is helping people right now. And so if other strangers get motivated by your review, you help me serve more human beings, and that's really what I'm asking for.
And the magic of the audio, and I want to add, because Jesse's not going to own this, the magic of the audiobook. You need to get the book. The book's amazing. The magic of the audiobook is Jesse does the reading, and there's some stories that like emotionally he could not get through without like some breakdowns. And so you're going to get to hear that in the audio version. And so just another layer of like Jesse reading the stories that were so real to him and to how he became the promise he was intended to be.
Thank you for that, Jennifer Lacey. Yes, the allergies overtook me. So after party in a few minutes, yeah?
Yes.
All right, folks. We'll see you all next time.